You are listening to selfdiscoveryradio.com with an orchard of wisdom just ready for your picking, filled with illuminating, inspiring stories. Do check out the community and the discovery stores. We are here for you. Our next show is... Are we live?
And we're recording.
Excellent. Wonderful. Hello, everybody. Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com and our Channeling Ascension shows. We are new at doing videos. We're bringing you both audio and video because we want to give you the full picture. And we have some wonderful shows lined up for you that you're going to be able to watch on YouTube and also listen on our regular source of SoundCloud and Google Play. Today, our beautiful Channeling Ascension show is about channeling a better relationship with money. I am Sara Troy. My co-host is Christina Hill. And along with Herthella is her wonderful spiritual guide that may come through at any point during the show to impart her wisdom. And of course, we have the wonderful Jennifer Knowles-Taylor back here again, who's been on air with us quite a number of times. She's become a resident here at Self-Discovery Radio, plus she participated in our book, and we're always delighted to have her wisdom here. So, money. What is your relationship with money? I know mine has been rather tumultuous, you know, that I know my worth, but somehow it didn't connect to the dollar. And we're also looking at money in the wrong way. Money has become something that we worship. Why is that? It's a tool. It's an exchange of services or products. Why are we giving money so much value? We look at the way the world is run, and it always seems to be on the richest country has the biggest say. Everything always goes down to e-commerce. Where is the value in humanity? Where is the value in ourselves and how we have a relationship with that money itself? So we can't live without it. It's very hard to live without it. We've all been there. We've all known the poverty line. Our last show with Jennifer was actually that she was $130,000 in debt. How did she come back from that? You've got to go and have a listen to that show. We will touch on some of it today, but go back and listen to that show and hear the journey back to abundance. And Christina's been there too. She knows exactly what it's like to have the bottom dollar. You know, what do you do with $1? Where do you go with it? Not far. So how do we change our perspective on money? How do we come back to having a good relationship with it and in inviting that abundance? Your abundance is already, you know, and your wealthy abundance are here to enjoy and form to play in abundance and feel wealth and abundance on all levels. That's from Christina and Othello. So let's step into our abundance, folks. Let's enjoy the money. As they say, show me the money, right? So welcome to the show, Christina and Jennifer.
Thank you, Sara. And thank you, Jennifer, for joining in. What a powerhouse connection we have today, a triangle of power and energy and abundance. I can feel it. This is going to be a great show.
Great. Well, thank you, Sara, for hosting the show. And thank you, Christina. I really appreciate it. Yes, we do have a nice powerhouse going on here. So thank you.
Money. Let's each one of us kind of talk a little bit about our relationship, past, maybe present, about our relationship with money right now. And I'm going to swing over to Jennifer first because we did this recent show on money and how she came back from $130,000 in debt to being abundant today and what was her mindset in changing to that. And then we'll go over to Christina. So Jennifer?
All right, so my relationship with money has changed. When I was in $135,000 of debt, I felt like a victim. I felt like somehow the universe was against me. I felt like a martyr for the cause. I felt like here I am doing my life work and serving the universe, and yet I'm not receiving my money. I'm not receiving what the universe owes me, right? That was my mindset. And so I was both feeling like a martyr for the cause, a victim, and also feeling entitled. It was just this negative energy with money, and so that was contributing to my debt. And my response to the debt was to berate God and say, "Look, you know, I'm doing my purpose. Come on, where's the money? Show me the money." So show me the money.
Yeah, but we've all had that conversation, haven't we, Christina?
Ooh, I think so many people can identify with this. But please, Jennifer, so I'm curious, at that point, or at what point, I mean, did you arrive to where you started to make that shift, the shift from that kind of vibration to an abundant wealth consciousness vibration?
Well, that's a good question. And like everything in life, sometimes things shift because you experience tragedy. And what happened was, and I tell this story in my upcoming book, I ended up in the back of a police car. And I tell this story, but I'll just do the abbreviated one. I realized at that moment that I was being a victim, that my whole mindset, my whole relationship, not just to money, but to life itself, I was coming from the standpoint of a victim. And it was a really big wake-up call because on one hand, I was teaching people empowerment. I mean, quantum touch is an energy healing modality. I was teaching people, yes, take charge of your health, be empowered. We create our health. And then on the same line, I was also being a victim to certain things in my life, especially men and money.
Have you always noticed men and money go together?
Yeah, and it was, and I was kind of a hypocrite. I mean, I really call myself out here saying we create our reality, but certainly not when it comes to men or money, because that is not.
Yikes!
I certainly wouldn't create $135,000 of debt consciously.
Right.
I mean, if I'm teaching law of attraction, we create our reality, and then I have this mound of debt in the background. I mean, I recognized I was a hypocrite, and I also was angry at the universe and also angry at myself because I couldn't use what we were teaching to create money. And then I realized in my, what I call my police car epiphany, I was approaching money and also men as I was a victim, kind of like swaying in the whim. I was a victim to a randomly evil universe or whatever I called it. I just felt like a victim. And I realized that that was my mistake. My victim mentality was creating my debt because as a victim, I had no power to change it. I was just waiting for God to fix it.
Right.
I might have been, might as well have been just sitting around watching TV and eating potato chips, waiting for God to put money into my account because, that's where
While I'm waiting, I'm going to eat some chips.
And then pop out into the garden to pick up from the money tree, right?
I was waiting for God to plant a money tree in my backyard. And then I felt like a victim. And so that whole mindset, I was a victim to God, actually. I thought I had grown beyond, except for men, I thought I had grown beyond being a victim to, other circumstances due to the money. But I hadn't grown beyond being a martyr for the cause.
Right. Yeah.
Vow of poverty, self-sacrifice. Everything I taught was somehow virtuous. I had taken that on and said, well, it's somehow good to be the sacrificial person and help others by sacrificing myself. I had all these different stories, and it basically comes down to what I feel is the victim.
Right. We've talked about that a lot, haven't we, Christina, about the self-sacrifice, servitude rather than service and not placing value upon ourselves.
Goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So once I realized I was playing the victim, then I decided, you know what? I can't be a victim and teach what I'm teaching. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I need to take ownership. I need to take ownership of every part of my life because the law of attraction isn't a selective law. It's a universal law. So why am I selectively owning certain pieces of my life? I'm going to own everything, including the reason why I ended up in the back of a police car.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was not a victim there either, even though it may have appeared like I was a victim. So in that story, I tell more of that story in my book. But so I decided to own everything, including my money. And that was the big turning point.
Yes. To claim it.
We will have to have that moment, don't we? That turning point.
Absolutely.
Christina, what was your claiming moment?
Whoa! first of all, I so appreciate, Jennifer, the candor with sharing these stories and the roles. You identified very, very concisely these roles that you would play, that ego comes out with, and that you follow down the rabbit hole, and then it just sucks you in, and you live that way. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, you providing service and walking this walk, talking the talk on other levels, and seeing it manifest. And then on this other realm, though, having those two things not match up, not at all. And then coming to a place where you're finally like, nope, it's going to be all. Yeah. All across the boards, all of it. And claiming it for yourself. That's truly, I just think that's truly stepping into divine knowingness on all levels, truly raising yourself, ascending. So good on you. I'm so glad that you're sharing that story with the world and with others, because that's a lot of times we do. We start with the story, and that is our motivator. Certainly for me.
It's so many people's story, isn't it? Don't we all have a story like that? You know, maybe not the 130 grand in the back of the police car, but we all have a story like that we have to relate to.
Sure do. To preface this too, isn't it important to say that these stories, they're just that. It's just storyline. And then we come away from story. We do this in our meditation when we're channeling. Well, you can do it right now. We drop out of the story and we realize our own beingness. And our infinite nature, you know, we're energy, and, you know, continuing on and on. And the story is really the ego stuff in the head. And we can really walk away from that every day. So if people listening in on this are caught up in the story of what's happening on the external level, just know that at any point you can come into your breathing, meditation, right? You can channel and you can step away, take a break from the story. It's just an outpicturing of stuff that you've had in your head. That's it. You're just manifesting what's going on the inside. I love this stuff too, because it really means that we are in the driver's seat and we can change and rescript our story. Yeah. Absolutely, we can. It does not matter what has happened to you in your story or how bad it apparently could be. And for me, just from my own experience, I was homeless. I lived in my car. I went from, you know, degradation and abuse, addictions, you know, drug addictions to prescription pills and drugs and alcohol, to, you know, then having to sell my body for, you know, just to make money to get by. And then in my car again, and, you know, here we go. And it was just in shambles for so many years, and living out of that story. And then finally, I came to a point and I was institutionalized and I was unable to care for myself. And that's when I started to hear whisperings of, hey, don't leave the body. Things are going to change in the next few years. You're going to be radically different. And I didn't know why then, but I just decided to hang on. And I really started out with nothing. I had a library card, and I went to the library, public library, and I immediately saw something from Bob Proctor, his goal achiever. And I listened to that for like 2 years nonstop. And it was like, that was my lifeline. That's where I started. But I had nothing, and I started to give. I found the Best Friends Society as an organization that was meaningful to me, and I started to give $2. I started there. I started with $2 donation and just giving and giving. But really, no resources, no family, no mentor, no knight on the shining armor thing, you know, the horse, and none of that stuff. But really just being a desire to have more, just this knowing that, are we really here to, is this really it? Are we here to suffer? You know, and you would think that after having had a gun held to my head in a third world country, or living in a trailer park with a bunch of random men, that I would have come to my knees and said, you know, please show me the way. But I didn't relent. It took me a long time to get to a place where I would believe, or could believe, that more was possible, that there's more to this thing, this life, and that this was actually a spiritual problem for me. It was always like, this is a spiritual imbalance. This is a spiritual calling. And when I met Athela, she was like, well, you can keep on going down this path, or I can show you a different way, and you can team up with me and we can build this organization, and I'll show you something called channeling, and away we go. And that was a profound spiritual, that was my moment, a profound spiritual awakening after meeting Othello. And things just went from there. And I was unable to close that. Once the floodgates were open through the voice, I wasn't able to shut that down. But getting back to the money piece was really, you know, in debt and really had a very bad relationship with money, and just feeling like anyone who has money must have got it through criminal means. You know, that kind of programming. You had to have stolen that from someone or cheated someone, you know. And as a kid, I can remember growing up stealing things. So it's also looking back at our childhood. Yeah. And maybe Sara, you know, you can speak to this, and I'm sure Jennifer as well. What happened to us as kids that started this kind of programming that we took on? Was it even ours? Probably not.
No.
Right?
No.
So.
No, you're right about that. It isn't, you know, because the way we're raised is, you know, the programming that's going on. And it's not just the way we're raised at that moment. It's also very much, you know, to do with our DNA ancestral, you know, how our family is and past lives. And, you know, I found out a couple of years ago that I signed a vow of poverty 50 lifetimes ago. And once I found that up, I was destroying it in every single way I could, blowing it up over and over again. But I had to realize that however much I blew up that contract, I was the only person that could place value on me and what I was doing and what I stood for. I had to find the value in myself. And I was at a crossroads because I had always been brought up that unless you know, had the degree or you were a big business person, you know, because of my learning disabilities and because of my health, it was just, let's hope she makes a good marriage. You know, that really I wouldn't achieve much in life. And it's only because nobody could hear what I had to give. Nobody saw my gift. I do a lot of shows with people with mental disorders and autism, and we have to understand they are a divine gift. They're channeling in a different way. And if we tune our channeling, we will actually understand the gift they're giving. And that was my problem. Nobody was hearing or seeing me. They were only seeing me from the conditioning, you know, society's condition of that your worth is based in, do you have a degree? You know, are you running a business? You know, do you drive a fast car? Is your house big? You know, are you wearing designer clothes? And that was the value that we were placed upon. You know, for you growing up, well, you had to steal in order to have it, right? You know, for me, it's that you had to go out and create it. And if you didn't toe the line and do it the way everybody else was doing it, then you were doing it wrong. And Christina knows that I've had an issue with money, you know, and it literally has been. And my issue with money wasn't to do with me feeling worthy of what I was contributing. I just still had this blockage to do with money, and I wasn't sure what it was. And then going to Toronto, coming here to Victoria, suddenly channels changed. Who knows why and what? Maybe I was ready. Maybe it's Victoria's energy. I don't know. It was time. And then everything just fell into place. And now we are a station that does charge. We charge for the interviews. We charge people for events and series and hosting. And I'm okay with it. And the interesting thing is that other people are okay with it. Because I think an awful lot of times we are so scared to charge for our services, feeling that other people will reject us or not feel as worthy of the price tag. And I think this is an issue that we carry around a lot. And I think a lot to do with my issue was the conditioning I grew up with, and most certainly past life vibrations. Where the channel shifted, I don't know, but amen. Thank you. It's shifted. Right? You know, it wasn't on the back of the car or any other things. I've lived out of my car. I invested in the technology. We got taken in the car, bankrupt, became very sick because of it. You know, I was married to somebody who was extremely controlling over money. You had to ask for every penny, every grocery money, gas money, everything. So it was always that demeaningness of what you were worth. My father was like that with my mother. So it was always our value was placed in the dollar sign. And I think that is something we have to sever and break immediately. So Jennifer, did you have that growing up in any way? I mean, for you to get into debt and for you to be so fervent on your career and where you're going and believing in the quantum energy, but that disconnect, did it come from the childhood?
That's a great question. I think a lot of it came from the idea that if you're really serving people, you shouldn't get paid.
Yes, that's very much to
Like,
do with this business, isn't it?
yeah, it's somehow that it should be free, that energy should be free, or love should be free, or what Christina does should be free.
Right.
That belief is really ingrained that unless we're giving it away, we're not actually helping people.
Yeah.
And that actually permeated a lot of my consciousness. The other thing that permeated my consciousness was, I would say entitlement. And that was probably maybe a response to my upbringing, because we're in an environment where it never felt like we had enough. Even though we had a good environment as kids, it just that energy of we never quite have enough. We were always a little bit under, just not quite enough money to do what we want. And so as my response was saying, well, I'm serving others. I'm doing what I came here to do. The universe isn't providing me money. So my response is credit card.
Yes. The universe will pay that off.
The universe will pay it off eventually, but I'm entitled to it now.
Yes.
So put everything on my card or borrow money to get what I felt like I deserved. So I feel like the martyr, victim, entitlement's kind of this unholy triad. Of energy that we either fall into entitlement, victim, martyr. None of it's functional, in my opinion. None of it's a healthy way. Like telling the universe that it owes us money is it's like a bad idea from my perspective now.
It will give you all the energy you want, but don't ask for the green stuff, right? It's a different form of energy. And how many people, and all of us, I think somewhere on the line, has run up a bill, run up a credit card. And a lot of that is because they make it appear to be so easy, to get a credit card, to get extra credit. They're always boosting your credit. And all you're doing every month is just paying down the minimal, and you're never paying off the principal. And it's, all of a sudden you're 135 grand in debt. And it's like, how did I get there? And, the wake up calls that we all come across. And it is so easy to look at money as just that easy come, easy go, but we certainly know it's very easy go, but it's not so easy come, is it?
I believe that's a paradigm that you just touched on too, Sara, right? So I think that's a paradigm that we could look at here in this topic, in this discussion, is what paradigms are we holding in our bodies, not just our minds, but in our mind body, that is putting the glass ceiling on what we believe is possible or what money is. What the heck is money anyway? I think there's a relationship piece here about that we were talking about, relationship to money, that requires a bit of education that we never get when we're in school, obviously. And we obviously don't get it from our upbringing, most of us anyway. Some people are very fortunate. They grow up with this beautiful programming that they're hearing bombarded all the time. And it's very positive about the relationship with money and free flowing, and there's so that's possible. But I think the relationship piece here, or at least what speaks to my heart now, is to share that that we're not the money. That money is a fellow calls it paper money form. It's a form, like the computer, like the body, like your dog and the plants and everything else. Everything on the external level, it's an external manifestation. It's a form. And forms, what do we know about forms? Well, they come and they go. It's like, and it's all within our control. Money is actually waiting for you to tell it what to do. Money is waiting for you to tell it what to do. And that's not the self. Find the self. I'm going to use Mooji's words. Find the self. So who is it that is creating the money? Or, look to who you really are and look at that first. Be with that first. Feel your own energy field. Notice when the forms come and they go, the car, the house, all of these things. We can notice our relationship to those forms and just know that we can create those forms. I think that's a distinction here that's important to lay the groundwork for what we're about to go into, because a lot of people, they mistake the form for their identity. So I lived that for a long time. I don't know about you guys, but that was my whole life. Right there.
You are the money. No, I'm not. Right. I am not the money. Stop putting a dollar value on me. I'm priceless. Money can't buy me.
Right? You're eternal.
Yeah.
Eternal.
Yeah. And money very much has become a thing of that I can buy you, everybody has a price. No, money does not have that power. And I'm certainly not giving it that power. But we have to go through those redirects, those cosmic 2x4s for us to actually realize I've given my power over to money to dictate who I am and what my worth is, and no more. Jennifer, that was your epiphany, wasn't it?
My epiphany was actually I was letting money have power over me. Yeah. So I was believing that I was somehow at the whim of money, that I was a victim to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't equating myself with money. I felt powerless over it. So I just felt, so
it's like slavery. That's like bondage.
I was a slave to money, right? Yeah. And I felt like I couldn't tell it what to do. I didn't have any power to change it. I didn't have any power to change my credit card. I didn't have any power to earn enough money to pay stuff off. I felt powerless to it. And I felt like God was the only one that had power.
Right. And what do we do when we feel powerless? It's the ostrich, head in the sand. If I don't look at it, it will go away. In the meantime, you may not be using the card anymore, but it's charging you just to sit there for all the debt that you have there, and you feel it's a no-win situation. How do I catch up? How do I earn the money to pay this off? Now I've become a slave to my debt.
Yeah, now you're slave to, even worse, slave to your debt. Another thing too is so many people feel depressed. Depression is to me, it's a feeling that you have no power over your life. So so it leads to depression, and some people commit suicide because they feel like they can't.
They don't want to be in the body anymore.
Yeah. It's too much. It's too much. Yeah. And really it is just a different channel that we need to change to, isn't it?
Certainly is. All of these things that just came up here, we're just kind of wafting in the energy field. If anyone's listening in and they're with us here energetically wise, feels like crap. There is no worse feeling. And it's depressing even being in this energy field. So changing the channel is vital. If this is you right now, you're tuned in, obviously you're hearing the show, you're seeing it for a reason. So if this is you, or even kind of, sort of, you're kind of, sort of on the line, no matter where you are with your relationship with money, this is a very potent sitting and a show that will radically transform you if you apply these things and learn to change the channel. No matter what's going on the external level, we absolutely have choice in what we are going to feed ourselves, what we're going to say to ourselves, what we're going to visualize, and our presence. We're able to come back to this current moment, no matter what's going on the external level. That includes physical dis-ease of the body, anything. So we just got to learn how to get in the driver's seat. We realize that the abundance that you seek is actually within you. You are the abundance you seek. You are the enrichment, the gift. Everything that is the jewel is you. You don't need to go and buy it. Again, back to money. It is purely a tool. It is an exchange of services or products. That's all it is. It's not you. You are completely separate to money. Don't look to money to define who you are or what your worth is. Your abundance, if you want to be abundant, look in. Change that channel. Look at how absolutely awesome you really are, and stop selling yourself short. Right? I think the channel changer for me too also involves owning your own abundance. It's like what you were saying, finally claiming, and not giving energy to any thoughts of debt. If you're thinking debt, if you're feeling debt, you are attracting that. You're creating it. You really do create your own reality. You absolutely do. This is not fluffery. This is really true. So you can train your brain. Again and again. For some people, it's going to take more of a repetition type road to retrain themselves and reprogram, and that's okay. But I believe this is what's absolutely possible and critical for everyone, is to retrain on some level, to start to retrain yourself to thinking positively, abundantly, to feeling your own abundance. Irregardless of what the external, you may have manifested debt. And that may have occurred, but that's in the past. That's not you right now. Right. And you do have a choice in your channeling what you wish to channel now. The more that you step into abundance vibration, the more that you'll create. And people are going, well, yeah, that's easy for you to say. Well, no. I mean, this works. If you do it, if you really commit yourself. I think discipline is coming to mind again. I know that big D word for a lot of people.
Commitment.
Committing yourself to living abundantly.
Yes. You know, you've got to be committed to it. Obviously, find something to believe in, you know, act on that belief and commit to that action. And, you know, the belief is you, believe in you. Like Jennifer, with you, you realize you kept saying, God, provide, provide. And he did provide. He provided it all in you. But you were looking externally instead of internally for that abundance. And when you finally got that cosmic 2x4 and you realized the abundant lies within, you shifted your energy pattern altogether. And you've paid that debt off and still, you know, are now plus. Completely plus now. That didn't happen because you were still resonating on the same vibration. You changed your vibration and you fed the possibility instead of the overwhelming negativity that you were in. And we have to take that breath. We have to let it go. As you say, that storybook has come to an end. I can't read this book anymore. I've got to go and put it down and I have to write a new story. And that story was to get yourself out of debt. So how did you do it, Jennifer? How was that whole shift that moved you into a different direction?
Well, the first thing I realized is that when I was feeling like a victim, part of that whole triad, victim, entitlement, martyr thing, I was being irresponsible with money as an excuse for waiting for God. I just spent money nilly-willy because I thought eventually God would provide, right? So my thinking wasn't very healthy around that. Also, I feel a lot of people do this, and I did this. I was just, you know, I was waiting for the universe to take action because I was waiting for God to fix me. I was just waiting for the universe to take action. And I hear a lot of people say this, oh, whatever spirit wants, I'll let it just unfold. And I feel like it's a tricky way to take our power away. If we say, oh, I'm just going to wait until spirit does this for me, or I'm going to see what's in the flow, or so on and so forth, we're actually saying, again, let's give our power away to something outside of ourselves that we're calling spirit. And I was doing that. So while I was waiting for spirit or God to take action, I was also spending money trying to find fulfillment outside of myself. And because I was deeply entrenched in this victim, seeking fulfillment outside of myself, trying to want someone else to fix me, I wasn't really taking charge of my spending habits or my earning habits or my money in general.
Or fixing yourself.
I wasn't fixing myself.
You were abstaining it and giving it to everyone else. Which,
God, God was this cosmic parent that was going to take care of it and give me an allowance. I mean, that was kind of my mindset. And
the thing is, God does take care of you. And you can be in the flow if you're in the right channel.
If you're in the right channel.
Right. But if you're in the wrong channel, you're flowing into debt. If you're in the right channel, you're flowing into abundance. It's just a question of what are we tuned into, right?
And part of it was also because I was waiting for God to take care of me. I didn't have any goals. I didn't say, oh, okay, it is possible that I can have no debt and savings and be like totally relaxed around money. That didn't even hit my mindset. And so many people I've talked to who have debt and problems, they don't have this idea that, oh, I could have savings. Like for some reason, like setting a goal or setting an intent somehow flies out the window with money. And I've noticed that with a lot of people, not just me, but let's say you want to set a goal of saying, I'd like $100,000 in savings and no debt. To a lot of people, they don't even think about that.
They won't go there.
They won't go there.
It's too overwhelming.
Too overwhelming, right?
It's impossible. It seems impossible.
Or they say, well, I'll just wait for directions from spirit, which is also a good idea. But if you have no intent and no
follow it through.
You can't just wait around for for God to fix things without really setting a goal or intent. That's what I found within myself.
We know, Christina, don't we, that that God or source energy will come through us and will set us on the right path.
Certainly.
You know, will speak to us. It's just, are we open to receiving? You were kind of missing the message from God, Jennifer. You know, Jennifer said it's all within you. You know, you've just got to change your mindset. You've got to change your self-value, and you've got to look at money in a different way. The answers were always there with God. But because we're on the wrong frequency, we're getting the wrong message. And really it's a question of when we tune in and start receiving the right message, then those aha moments. Now I get it. Now I could be productive towards my own liberation, right? Because I'm opened up to the channel.
Yes.
It's like that story. Do you guys remember that story about that guy who got a warning that there was a flood coming? And so he didn't leave the house. He said, well, God will save me. So then a plane comes by and says, come on, grab the rope, we'll save you. And he didn't take the rope. And then a boat comes by and he doesn't jump in the boat. He's like, I'm just waiting for God to save me. And so the boat comes around and leaves. And then he finally drowns and he gets to heaven. And he says, God, how come you didn't save me? And God's like, well, I sent a boat. I sent a plane. I sent a warning. It's if we're just in that victim mentality, we won't even see what's right in front of us.
Precisely. And that's the signs, isn't it? I mean, we know all about the signs, don't we, Christina?
No, totally. And if you get really clear, then and the thing is that a lot of people don't take that time to cleanse, to get their subconscious in a clear space to really get yourself really clear. And if you don't know what I'm talking about here, just feeling like all the chakras up and down, cleaning that stuff out. And really cleansing the body, maybe do a fast, or take on a vegan lifestyle for a week, and get yourself unplugged from the external situation, whatever you've manifested here. Get away from all the garbage for a little bit, long enough to come into meditation and get really centered. Then seeing those signs is going to be easier for you.
Yes.
But if you're if you're up to it in your eyeballs, then you're not going to be able to see anything. And you're going to wonder, where's the signs? I'm waiting for the signs.
The ultimate knowledge, you can't see the woods for the trees.
Yeah, completely. It's no one's fault. There's no blame to place.
No.
Doesn't even exist.
It's just a shift. Just a shift. We have to just shift ourselves. People say, I get that aha moment, that epiphany, and I see it. And that was with me. I mean, I can't actually say when the aha moment came because, I've had this issue for a while, and how trepidatious I was about taking this path. And then it was just like, I'm on the computer and everything is just coming together. Everything just came together and it made sense and everything flowed. And so therefore it must be right. When everything comes together and you can see how all those pieces fit together and they're creating a picture that is comprehensive and it speaks to you and it's okay, then you've tuned in, right? And you're downloading the knowingness and you're applying it, because don't forget, it's not just receiving the information. You've now got to act on the information. And sometimes let the ego and the mind step out of it and just step into. That's where that real flow does work. When you step into the knowingness of the right information and you apply. And when you apply it and you sit back and you look at it and go, oh, okay. Just the pieces put this way and that way. Now it makes sense. But I think so many times we let our ego and our anxiety get in the way. Give me the answer. Give me the answer. Well, shut up and listen. Right? The answer will come if we just be still, be quiet, be present, and pay attention.
You can really literally start with just getting out a piece of paper and writing out what it is you would like money-wise. Just like Jennifer was saying, I love this about consider that you would have different accounts for different things. See yourself as a philanthropist. See yourself having more than enough, seeing all the money that you need coming in, more money's coming in than going out. But write a story about your relationship with money. It just literally takes that, and you start thinking in different ways about money. And if you were to absolutely take the plug and unplug all of your energy, attention, awareness, all your focus away from the situation that you might have manifested, the debt, or perhaps your perceived idea of what you're earning and that there's a ceiling cap to that. I can't earn more than this. Those ideas, or any ideas at all that negative stuff. If you were to pull the plug on that and to only focus on the story of what it is you wish to create, mind, body, and soul, eventually, after a period of gestation, after a period of time, it would have to manifest. That's just the law.
Yeah.
It's just that, as you say, Sara, people get into and I've been there too. It's like you get into the fear waves.
Yeah.
The fear is so cunning. Ego is so cunning. Well, how are you going to pay this? Who do you think you are? I can't have that.
Yeah.
You can't have this and that, and you can't control your own money. You don't trust yourself enough to work with your own money. You can't make good decisions, all these things. So it's like ego, like taming that ego. And I think, again, I know we sound like a broken record here, but coming back to meditation again and again throughout your day, especially if things have hit a percolated peak, an all-time high, then it's really time to get serious on the inside and come to meditation more often and clear away that stuff so that you can focus on what it is you want. You can focus on that positive abundance energy. Think about all the things that you want. Pour your energy into that you can manifest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe, at least in my personal experience and working with clients, this one exercise alone can absolutely shift everything, and all bets are off when you channel a different channel.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, like Jennifer, with the business you're in with the quantum energy healing, it's all about removing the blockages. It's all about bringing the chi, the energy through the body, in the flow. And if there are any blockages, then the energy is not flowing, and that creates health issues. So with the quantum energy that you're in, you've got a blockage, the energy can't flow. Well, our emotional blockage around money is that blockage. It can't flow. So when we unplug that blockage, just like you do with the quantum healing, with the quantum energy, and allow the flow to happen, and again, don't put a cap on it. You say, I would like to save this year, but don't say that's all and absolute. Just say this is my, a goal, and then I'll go from there. Mm-hmm. We allow that energy to really, really flow. But that's one of the problems, isn't it, Jennifer, getting that energy to flow?
I think that a lot of people, a disease is very similar in my opinion. A lot of people in our society makes the body the enemy. So, for example, someone says, well, I have cancer. I'm fighting cancer. That whole idea that you're at war with your body. Another thing to think about with debt, with money, you are the one that spends every penny, and you're the one that brings in every penny, right? So on some level, it's really simple to create that balance where more comes in than goes out. And since you're in charge of it all, you can just shift that balance so that more comes in than goes out. And I think a lot of people forget that they're in charge, both of their body and the money. And as far as blocks, I think that's the biggest block to me, is what I've found is people feeling like, oh, I'm struggling, or I'm fighting, or using this terminology that they're at war with their pocketbook or at war with their body. And why are we brought up that way, right? It's just really, I just find that whole piece fascinating. And then so that victim war thing.
Yes. Why do we have to change everything into a battle?
Seriously,
why does everything have to be a battle? I recently did a show myself on Sara's View of Life, which was just basically, just the allowing, receiving. I think half the time we think that we have to negotiate, and it's sometimes we just allow, I am open and willing to receive, to show me the way how. And, just like the plane and the boat, that was the receiving coming to save you. And if we ask for, I'm open to receive, then pay attention to the signs and the people that will come and give you the advice and the support and everything else that you need in order to walk forward confidently, in that shift will be provided. That is the law of attraction and law of energy. It wants to go somewhere. It's waiting just for those channels to open up. And if we open up those channels and say, I'm ready to receive this energy that can take me down a different channel, then we start receiving. But we've got to allow it and stop. It's got to be a fight. Why?
Why do we have
to be a fight?
It's so ingrained in our media, though. If you look at the movies and everything that's on TV or whatever, everyone's
throw out your TV. Quit watching TV. Turn off the computer. Go away from the electronics. I'm serious. People in the media, exactly. You'll see a lot of, at least in the U.S., a lot of prescription medications on pictures where you walk in the airport and there's pills everywhere. So see if you can put on your Bozeman headphones, see if you can block out your visual field, at least walk through life a little bit more cognizant of what is flooding the eyeballs and what is going through the ears. Get away from that stuff. Louise Hay is a perfect, beautiful sounding board for this, is like flooding your subconscious with new material. If you listen to Louise Hay or any of those that you see on YouTube, just put it in your mind body of abundance, affirmations, afformations. We can continually flood ourselves and our subconscious mind with new material. And I believe that this is what is required if we're going to shift from scarcity consciousness, gripping with our fingernails and fighting, to health, wealth consciousness. And then suddenly life shifts. Suddenly you're around people who are healthy and wealthy. Suddenly you are in a situation where you're able to give and where you're planning your finances. I think it's also about what we're putting ourselves around. Look around at your influences. Who's around you? What kind of a life have you manifested that is feeding into this negative relationship with money? And then just start with subconscious, really, because at least for me, in my experience, people change faster, I think, when we look at subconscious and we go straight there and we say, okay, this is the programming, we've identified the negative programming here as it relates to money specifically, and we're going to rewrite that. Rewrite it at subconscious level, and then give your subconscious very clear directions, because subconscious, of course, is like a kid, and it'll just take exactly...
Tell me what to do. Yes.
Exactly at face value. Well, so you want to, make sure it's all positive programming that goes in there. You don't want to put in the negative programming back.
Right, precisely. There's something I want to hit on today which is completely off topic, but it was something that I found very profound. And it's a young man, school age, that is, become a speaker, against guns in school. And he was up against one of the senators who's saying, no, we should just teach the kids how to do CPR, and how to do something if someone's shot. And he said, an ACAR 7 is not, there's no CPR there if you're dead. And it's like, why are we looking at dealing with the war situation? Why are we not looking at preventing it in the first place? And we're looking at our youth at the present moment who are saying, no more. I don't want to have a gun to fight guns. I want to have no reason for guns in the first place. And I think this is something that now, they're teaching us. We've been taught that we have to fight with weapons on weapons. No, peace doesn't work that way. And what we're looking at is looking at peace within ourselves with our money relationship. Because again, it's not just our relationship in our own lives and our own burden. We ripple that out to everybody else and everything else that we do. And this is why we have a society that is emotionally, physically, and financially in debt. Right? So we owe it not only to ourselves, but that ripple effect that goes out to everybody else starts changing the vibration around everywhere. So you're not just doing it for you. You're doing it for society as a whole, for the planet as a whole.
I agree. And for your children too.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't it be just beautiful to give, what greater gift than to give to children and to the ether, to put out there the positive, abundant vibrations, and that's all you emit? That's all you're emitting. That's the frequency you're tuned into. And again, irregardless of any external situation. I mean, don't you find it, it's until you matching with your vibration is matching with your physical field in all ways and across the board, then yeah, you have a little bit of a lag time. And people are going to kind of look at you like, what? But that's okay. You can totally choose your channel at any moment. Wouldn't you agree? It's a responsibility to yourself, and we all are abundant anyway. It's our divine birthright to be
Yeah.
abundant. We're not here to suffer. We're not here to be broke or to just get by or any of these things. Well, I mean, that's a bunch of inner programming that we grew up with. So I think one thing in the show too, one thing I think Othello would like to do in the right moment is how can we then integrate this information that we've covered here into the body so that we start believing this. It's great to talk about it, but then we got to believe it.
Yes.
And live it.
Be it. We've got to be it.
Leave and all of those things.
You know, that is the quantum energy, the universal energy. It is all about creation. It is all about things die, things are born, you know, death and creativity. And that's what we are. And we have situations that can die, and we can create from that a new birth of a new situation. And we mustn't, as you said, get so caught up in the story. Oh, why did I do it? Punish myself. You know, I'm a failure. That was just, you wrote a bad book there. Now take what you've learned from that and be creative in creating a new book, a new chapter, a new story. Because that's what you've done, Jennifer. You created a new story. You have savings. You paid your debt off. You're not only internally abundant, but you're externally abundant now because you were willing to take a different chapter on a different channel. But you had to believe you could. That's the thing, right? We have to believe we are abundant. Not we're striving for abundance. We are abundance.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that believing that you can change it. That you're not stuck, no matter how bad it is, and no matter how impossible it seems. You know, Christina, I really appreciate you sharing your story, because it, you know, from the picture you painted, I think a lot of people would have probably committed suicide or just wanted to end it because it seems so hopeless. And you know what I mean? I'm sure it felt like hopeless. I mean,
want to eject from the body at that point.
Yeah.
Hopeless. There's that word, hopeless.
Right?
I think a lot of people can identify with that. This is a hopeless cause.
It's a hopeless situation.
Yes.
This, how it may feel. And for a lot of people, their finances feel hopeless.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the thing is you may not see the solution.
No, not like, if you're in a hopeless vibration.
Yeah. No. You won't see the solution from that standpoint of hopelessness, victimhood, martyrhood. You can't see a solution if you're feeling hopeless because your whole life is hopeless. So, and even if God planted a money tree in your backyard, you wouldn't be able to see it.
No.
So,
and Jennifer, you bring up something golden here. I mean, no pun intended, but gold here. I mean, leaning forward, I think we can all identify with this, is how many lottery winners have we heard of that have gone flat broke?
Yes.
It has to do with consciousness and deservability and believability inside in the consciousness of you. So you could have that money tree planted there, a whole sack of cash landing in your lap, and within a month it will be gone if you're not in the consciousness of abundance and wealth. Isn't that a phenomenon? And we've seen that with lottery winners who get this instant cash injection and then they blow it. They just blow it. And so there's the
uncommit suicide.
Blow it.
You know, because then suddenly they had riches and now they're broken, you know, the whole domino effect.
Yeah, and you build your identity into that. Suddenly the money is gone.
All those friends and family that you never knew you had suddenly love you.
Yeah, so look at how powerful this form of money has been and how we identify so closely to it. The changer, the shifting, could be just as simple as putting a picture of a dolphin on your computer screen or putting a picture of your accounts, seeing them full. Instead of seeing the sales sheet as empty, you know, create one, even if you have to fabricate one for a while. Create one. If you're in car sales, you put up a sheet in front of you that shows all the sales you've made.
Right.
I do this with people who work and they have sales goals they want to reach. Well, create that. Look at it. Instead of looking at what's not working. Because, of course, when all of our attention is on the problem, we can't see the solution at all. So we got to focus then on the unmanifested, but of course it's there. It's in our visual field, getting pictures of what it is that we want. And Sara, I know you are you physically actually wrote out the plan for this radio show, and you emailed it to me, and it was written out. So something so powerful happens when we, create the blueprint.
The blueprint. Yes, it was absolutely. And as I always say, you have to paint the canvas to know where the direction you want to go in. You have to articulate it. You have to put it out there for you to understand it. Also for you to vibrationally invite it. And so that you know how to recognize when that channel is going to be there helping you to receive it or to manifest it, right? But, if it's like, well, what do you want? I don't know. I just want to be rich and happy, right? Well, what is richness? What is happiness? You've got to define that, paint your picture. I've got a voice in the back of my head saying, don't forget about the men. And we talked about love and, money and men in the same subject there. And how many of us women go and overspend on an outfit and titillating ourselves to please a man, and then going after a man with the fast car and the big wallet and the Armani suit because we think he's going to be everything that we want and provide for us. No, folks, it doesn't work that way. But how many of us have done that because we were taught to do it? And really, really, what you really do want is a man that is so utterly enriched within his character and his personality and his contribution to the world. That is the abundance that you want to tap into, but you're not going to find it unless you find your own abundance first, because one seeks the other, right?
Let's just snapshot that right alone at the very end, finding your own abundance. Sorry to interject there, but that's really where it's at. Took
you
me
want to attract it, you've got to be it. Right?
12 years to realize that. I think there's some codependency points there. I mean, we could talk about on another show, but certainly that image, right, of the money and the male, right, and those two things, and how alluring that is.
Yes.
So
we all like a well-dressed, man with a nice fast car, and we think he's going to wine and dine us. But does that mean that the enrichment of who he is and how he's going to treat us or see us is going to be there? Not saying that all rich men haven't got that, but that's not where the value is. The same way we look at the dollar pleasing us, we look at the man as a dollar sign. We do it ourselves because we've been taught to. Go and find yourself a nice rich man to take care of you, right?
I mean, yet another paradigm too. Very, very alluring. I mean, do we see how these forms, they're very alluring as they come up. But I think it's great to ask the question too, who is begging for these things? Who is needing? Who is wanting? And check in there. Why am I missing? I feel like something's missing. I need to have this. Gotta the needing. And feeling that. For anyone listening, it's check in with that and really pay attention to where that's coming from. But to embody your own abundance and to be really planted from that place and to be creating creatively, living abundantly, joyfully, then you're filled up. You can go out then and attract a full individual.
On the same vibration. You've done that, haven't you, Jennifer? Right?
Yeah, and I feel like, I think so many women look at men to earn the money for them.
Yeah.
At least in my generation too.
Oh, definitely mine.
Yeah. And then what happens is, let's say for some reason the relationship doesn't work out. Then what happens is unfortunately a lot of my friends don't have the means to leave.
Yes.
They're being abused or some kind of level of abuse or something, and they can't leave because they don't have the money to leave. And that's so sad to me.
Yeah. And there's the children, and there's the responsibility for them. And you put yourself on a back burner because you want to make sure your children are okay and they've got a roof over their head. And you don't realize that by doing that, by being sacrificial, that you're being actually a detriment to your children, because you're teaching them a pattern that it's okay for you to be nothing. And it's when you take that journey into becoming something and stepping into your own life, your own being, your own sense, your own presence, you then become the enrichment for them to live by. But it's a hard journey. It's a hard journey when you're in it. I know.
It's hard. It's just like whether you're looking to God to save you or maybe a man to save you. It's the same thing. You're looking outside for somebody to rescue you.
Right. It's all inside.
When you can save you. You can save you.
Yes.
that's the only
Super
salvation.
Wario.
Yeah, that's the only salvation that there is, the only
Yeah.
liberation that there is. And when it's time to eject from the body, who does it with you? I mean, you go and eject out of the body. So we know that we have to live this life with ourselves. We're always going to be with the self.
Can't escape you.
Right. So at the bottom of the well there, you can look and you can just see, okay, you know, I have to be okay with me. I got to be okay with the self. I got to trust the self and be reliant upon the self. That's so empowering too. When you're really, really in the driver's seat, it's so empowering. It's also very attractive for your mate.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure
attractive.
with Jennifer, I mean, with you, you know, attracting, you know, you're not only in control of your money, you're in control of your own abundance, your own presence. And in that you attract that abundant, enriched person that's also on that same level. You couldn't have attracted, didn't matter how, you know, how fast the car, how sexy the outfit, you wouldn't have attracted the same type of person. You know, vibration meets vibration. And if we, you know, resonating on a low vibration, that's what we're going to get. So we need to turn, it's not just turning our volume up, you know, we have to turn our frequency up, but that is something that we can't just go, wham, because we'll shatter ourselves. We have to go step by step. It's a journey. We have to be willing to take that journey. And it first comes from, oh my God, I've been waiting for God and God's been with me all the time. He's giving me that answer all the time. And now I've got to step into action in order to change things. Right? Those epiphanies.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of turning up the frequency, I'd love to guide us, lead us with Othello to a higher frequency so we can really power up our mentality for wealth, and wealth consciousness being, you know, a different consciousness, different frequency altogether. So maybe anyone who's sitting with us, you can find a comfortable, we're all sitting in chairs, but we can find a comfortable position, a comfortable posture, and just close the eyes and we can channel this wealth consciousness, this feelings of frequency of wealth by simply breathing, because we have an abundance of oxygen. We are abundant beings. Create space for your body to relax now. Listen to the words I use. They are deliberate. Imagine that you are on the ocean side, on the beach, and the water is sweeping over your feet, and you are walking. There is something tied around your waist, a rope. At the end of this rope, behind you, there is a heavy rock, and you are dragging this weight. Let this rock be representative of all the negative opinions about this thing you call paper. The rock with problems, concerns, fears. Notice how much energy you expend as you walk forward slowly with the weight of this rock. When you are ready, remove this rope. You can untie it yourself. It is easy for you to remove. You are already letting it go. dropping it from your waist, leaving it there, and walking towards the setting sun. Now you feel lightweight, and you start to see colors fresh. Feeling light, feeling free. You are a fully developed human being. Just ahead, a treasure chest. Go to it. It is gleaming, golden, shiny. Kneel down, open it up, and see the abundance in every form. Abundance of healthy cells in the body, abundance of relationship, abundance of material items. Know that it is yours. It always has been. Adjoin and attune your heart to the treasures you see. Feel the joy and aliveness. Inside this treasure chest, treasure trove, joy. And it is going into every fiber of you. You are complete as you are right now. Abundant beings. Love.
Words of wisdom from our Athela. Thank you, Athela.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why do we wish to complicate things? When we're feeling heavy, why don't we just take the weight off? We always think that we have to do something difficultly. Struggle. You mentioned that earlier, Jennifer. Why do we have to struggle? When sometimes it just simply take the weight off. Change the channel. Choose to go in a different way. Let us lighten up. In every way. We get bogged down. We get so heavy.
The story, right?
Yes.
The story gets so heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. So weigh down. The weight on our shoulders. Take the heavy coat off. Run around naked for a while. Feel the breeze in your body.
Yeah, there you go.
And let it go.
Yeah.
And it sounds so simple, but really if we choose it to be, we can make it simple, can't we? First, you've got to be willing to let it go. Then you've got to be willing to change your channel. And then you've got to be willing to take different forms of action. And believe that you're worthy. Yes, I can have savings. Yes, I can buy my own home. Yes, I can do this and do that. I can make that happen because I've opened that channel not to waiting for it to download for me.
Right.
I've been given the gift from God to do it for myself. It's not someone doing it for me. It's within me to do it for myself. And every single one of us has that ability when we're willing to step in to our presence.
Well said, Sara. I want to thank you, Jennifer and Sara, for this. This has been so sweet and precious. And my sincere hope and intention for everyone is that they'll watch this repeatedly, get those frequency and vibration tuned in, and have some new creative energy flowing through the mind body so that you can take a break from the story, from the heavy weight. Take that burden off and lift up and know that if all of us, we've done it, we certainly have. You can begin with nothing. And now, and we're doing philanthropy work. Yes, yes. And you can be a philanthropist. You can really, truly manifest, you know, anything at any level. So all is possible. We are limitless creatures.
Mm-hmm. So Jennifer, my love, would you let people know how they can reach you and how they can get hold of you? Again, I encourage everybody to come and listen to the many shows you've done with this. I think this is number 7, Love and Incorporation. Love what you do, so you do, you know, do what you love, so you love what you're doing. If we don't love what we're doing, we're never going to make it happen, are we? We're never going to do it well, and we're never going to love what we're doing. So you've got to listen to those shows as well, and there's also the ones on the quantum energy. But aside from that, on here on Self-Discovery Radio, they just have to put in your name, Jennifer Noel Taylor, and they'll see all of your shows there. But also, how else can they get hold of you, Jennifer?
Great. Well, first I want to say thank you, Christina. I was really touched by sharing your story.
Thank you.
I love that. That meditation at the end was beautiful. And thank you, Sara, for bringing us all together and allowing us to, giving us this wonderful forum to speak and to help others. And so I had to say thank you so much. And
our pleasure.
Yeah. And if you want to reach me, my website is jennifernoeltaylor.com. And I have a mailing list there. If you, I'm giving away the first 3 chapters of my new book. If you want to sign up and see
give
if you
them the name of the book, love.
Oh, I'm working on a book called Spiritual and Broke.
Mm-hmm.
How to Stop Struggling with Money.
So awesome. I just think that's awesome.
And we did do a show on that. So
I did a show on that.
Yes.
Very good.
But also let people know your other book as well.
And I have another book that I did a couple years ago called Love Incorporated. The Business of Doing What You Love. It's just my thing of how to tap into your truth.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
How to find what you're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now I'm writing a book on like, well, once you figured out your truth, how do you actually balance the money part?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Based on all the mistakes I made.
Which were your gifts.
That's it.
Right? They were gifts of knowing what to do because you know what didn't work. Right. Excellent. So jennifernoeltaylor.com, also Jennifer Noel Taylor here on Self-Discovery Radio. And Christina, please let everybody know how they can get hold of you and Athella.
Sure. That's easy. It's at athella.org. So it's ATHELLA.org. And we are a philanthropic organization. So we just now upped our ante. We're now donating to 2 organizations. I should back up. Every session, every retreat, any kind of interchange that we have, we make the donations. A portion of that funding goes to 2 different organizations now. One of them is in Africa, the waterproject.org. So we're so excited. I mean, this is all coming from someone who was homeless, for a time. So really, it's phenomenal. If you have money blocks, if you have money blocks, or if you're concerned about finances, or you just want some business financial advice from your guides, really using the channeling so that you can reach those financial goals, then I would highly recommend a session with Athella and your guides, because spirit guide channeling, this channeling thing is powerful. Alchemy that you can use for the paper money form, certainly. So private sessions with Athella. I have a private practice through Skype where I do private sessions, and also retreats. That is a phenomenal way to hit the reset button, is to come out of the matrix, unplug, and really see, like look inside, pop the hood open and really go inside.
Oh, that's what's in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's no hiding at that point, because you really are willing. And at our retreats here in the Yucatan, we have every ample opportunity for this. We set it up very nicely so that you're right on the beach, and we play with the dolphins. You can check us out on Facebook. You see some of our previous retreat participants there. They'll chronicle their story and had all kinds of beautiful things there. So please join us. And coming up soon, I'll be talking about the upcoming film, which is going to be released in summer 2018. That is a film about channeling, and has
wonderful
top channelers on the planet in that. So I'm excited for that as well. But again, I'm so honored to be in this discussion today. This is potent medicine for everyone. Everyone has a takeaway here. It's just a phenomenal topic. I'm really passionate about it. So thank you both.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And of course, we're selfdiscoveryradio.com. And of course, if you want to be a guest, all you do is just go to selfdiscoveryradio.com. You'll see in the bar there, opportunity to become a guest, also to be a host. We also do events. We do series. If you just want a series that you want to come on 6 to 8 weeks. And of course, you can be a host full time with us. And you've got something that you want to support, a webinar, a book, and you want to do an event where it's going to cover more coverage, we're very happy to help you. So all you have to do is reach out to me, info@selfdiscoveryradio.com, and let me know how we can help you. And understand that we have an orchard of wisdom here, ready for the picking. Over 1,900 collector shows on this station of shows like this. And yes, we've just gone into doing video now, so you can listen to it on audio and video. And this is still a learning curve for us, so be with us. And we're here to celebrate you, to celebrate your journey, because your inspirational journey becomes an invitation for us to believe, yes, we can do it too. And I promise you, you can. Change your channel, start channeling, and you too can step into your own beautiful abundance. So thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sara.
Thank you so much.
And until next time, folks, we wish you all well, and bye for now.
Thank you.